Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the platform Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Jasmine Harden, and I'm here to create a space for Black minds, voices, and culture to thrive. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get into this episode. Hey, y'all. I am back for another episode on the podcast. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Let's give it up. Very excited to be here with you all. I'm not going to be long. I really just got up here and kind of was freestyling because I feel like I really typically come up here and have a very straightforward game plan of what I'm going to discuss. But I want to start including some more impromptu type topics and episodes where I can just get up here and really show y'all why this is what I chose to do. Like, I am a chatter. I can be a bit of a chatty one. And I think that I know one of my goals for last year for the podcast was to be able to really allow my personality to come out more because I feel like it was kind of hard in the beginning because it was uncomfortable. um, but as I've gotten more comfortable on this platform, I'm definitely feeling like I want to start branching out and just doing more, and allowing my creativity to really flow. And which is where things like the novel discussions and things like that came from, because I don't want to just get up here and sound redundant. Long story short. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, so I really just wanted to get up here and talk about something that was kind of heavy on my heart today. And I felt like was something I could really make a nice, sweet um, point out of. It was a learning moment for me, and I was hoping I could make it a learning moment for anyone else who's open to it. And long story short, I was on the Twitter, child. I was on the Twitter. And I hadn't been on Twitter in a couple of days, honestly, for obvious reasons. Um, if you've listened to any previous episodes on this podcast, it's an obvious reason why. But if not, if you're new here, I have a very strong stance against the use of social media without boundaries. So for me, that looks like not using it that often, which, for everybody it looks different. But for me, that's what it looks like. And so I got on today and, I was enjoying it. I'm not going to lie. I was enjoying it for a little bit. And then all of a sudden I saw a tweet and it weighed heavy on my heart because I do genuinely believe that a part of my purpose here on this earth is to not only teach people and to help people through learning, but also to be an example and to be an advocate for my Heavenly Father and an advocate for love and an advocate for using your heart, even though that doesn't necessarily align with a lot of worldly standards and social norms that say, don't wear your heart on your sleeves. I heard that so much growing up, and I used to it grinded my gears, it did. And now as an adult, I understand why I was admonished to do that, but I also am grounded enough and sure of myself enough to know that my heart is one of my greatest gifts from God. So I want to showcase that on this platform. And that's the only reason why I'm using this tweet as an example, because I feel like, although it is just a tweet and it's not necessarily that big of a deal because it's social media, and if you just turn it off, it doesn't do anything. It loses a lot of its power if you disengage. But because, like I've talked about before on the podcast, so many people do engage with social media, I feel like it is something to be noteworthy of at the very least. Because if you're going to engage in these things, you have to be aware of the messages that you are sending your mind, and you're aligning yourself with your actions. So let me set the premise for what we're gonna be talking about. Okay, so the tweet was basically someone. It was a unfortunate, really very unfortunate circumstance that happened in Florida, where, long story short, a 85-year-old woman was walking her little pooch. It looked like it probably was like a Shih Tzu or something. So it was a little bitty dog, little, and walking her dog along a little pond or creek or whatever was in the little nursing home facility. And I don't know, maybe that's why it struck me a little harder because I worked at a nursing home. And it's not that I had any like super duper close relationships with any residents that made it like anything super triggering for me, but I just think that maybe I I empathize with the situation beyond just, oh, it's a video on the internet. Um But anywho, yeah, and the lady was walking her dog on along the shores of the pond in Florida with her dog and wasn't paying attention. And long story short, an alligator came and snatched both of them up. Snatched both of them up. Ugh, that was so terrible. Um, to hear the story of the woman who witnessed it and was trying to help the lady, it was just a lot. Like it was unfortunate, very unfortunate circumstances. The lady went in after her dog, which is what led to her demise, sadly. And um, there was a white lady, an older white lady, and the reason why I'm bringing race into this is just because the tweet that I saw that was connected to this video, um, was a young man that basically made a comment along the lines of, the video cut away, like, it didn't show what happened. It showed the alligator swimming up and her just standing there, and it's insane because she was walking away as soon as it came out the water to get the dog. Very unfortunate, like I said, but the video cut away before it showed anything gruesome. It did show them the pursuit, but it didn't show the attack. And he made a comment along the lines of, um these news um shows and people, they protect the older 85-year-old woman who was attacked, unfortunately, that and they protect their family when an alligator attacks this woman and her dog. And when it's a black man being murdered by the police, we get that video cycled on the news like it's nothing. Like, someone being murdered by another human, not only another human, but a human that was sworn in to protect and serve, killing the very people they swore to protect and serve, and will play it over and over again, like on the news cycles, as if it's not a gruesome, triggering, devastating thing happening, but they treat the old 85-year-old lady getting eaten by the alligator as a terrible, devastating, unfortunate thing that happened. And he just said, I want to see the video. Like, y'all cutting away from the old lady getting attacked. I wanted to see the video. Y'all will play a black man getting murdered, so why can't I see the other lady? And it it immediately made me log off, one. Because the way it made my spirit feel so heavy, it was really unfortunate that I understand both sides of not only the tweet, but also the actions behind why the video was shown the way that it was. And I want to dig into that a little bit more. It was clear that the boy was speaking from a place of hurt and pain, understandably so. Um, because it is despicable to me that the news outlets and the media desensitizes the world and humans in general to the brutality and the disdain even towards black men and women, especially in regards to police brutality and things of that nature for sure, and even just overall interactions in society. It's unfortunate that we are portrayed in a light that is so biased to make us seem more animalistic and more savage and more dangerous, I'll even say. Um, you see it all the time with they'll post a white person commits a crime and they'll post their senior high school pictures. And if it's a black person, they're gonna post the mugshot. And it could be the first crime they ever committed, but they're gonna post the mugshot, you know? And how even little subconscious things like that, and how the representation is a subconscious attack on the black mind. I completely understand that. Completely understand that. But I, as a believer, I also recognize that God didn't create black people to be bitter. Like, I don't choose to believe that. I don't think he created us to walk around and have this weight of bitterness and anger and disdain and vengeance in us that makes us want to be a conduit of evil to those who have been conduits of evil to us. And as a human, do I understand? Of course. Of course, I understand. Of course. I was even talking to Jazz, you know Jazz, y'all know Jazz. I was talking to my friend Jazz about this and was even saying, like, I mean, that's a terrible way to go. That's a terrible way to go. You go in after your dog. First of all, your dog just got mauled by a freaking alligator. And then you have to make a decision of whether or not you're going to try to save the dog. I personally wouldn't have gone in for the dog. It would have been traumatic, but I don't think I would have gone in with the dog. Not in a nope, 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 nope. Not against no crocodile, alligator. I'm good. But especially no little bitty dog. The dog is gone. The dog is gone. But to die in that way, like the humanity in me is was kind of like, I mean, it kinda feels like that might be some karma, like, that's a really interesting way to go, like, peculiar, I'll say that. It's a very peculiar way to go, and it could be karma. That lady could very well have been a menace, for lack of a better way of putting it, but I don't feel like I have to get so emotionally invested in the situation to the point where I then have to be a conduit of evil to get on social media and to belittle this woman's life that I never met, all because she's white, all because of her race, which is exactly what people have done to us. So to do that, don't think I don't understand why someone may be influenced or motivated to do so. Like, I clearly I'm not dumb or ignorant to the experiences of black people at all. But I, as like I said, as a believer, because I'm a believer first, always, I can't co-sign bitterness just because I know it's not even for white people. It's not for anybody. It's not for any people. It's really just for an individual to realize that walking around with hatred and anger inside of you does nothing but deteriorate you. It doesn't do anything for anybody else. If anything, it is probably destructive to other people, if anything. But to walk around with that much anger and bitterness in you is only going to weigh you down. Like, if you're going to be black in America, you're going to have to accept that we have an experience as a black person in America. So to walk around bitter does nothing for you. Allow that anger, that righteous anger, because let's be real, it's understandable why the anger even exists in the first place. Like I said, I'm not denying the fact that people shouldn't be angry. I'm not telling you, oh, don't be angry, don't feel anything, don't be angry. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying allow your any emotion, especially negative ones in regards to your race and the way you see yourself and how the society sees you. Allow it to be a motivation to make the world a better place. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Show up and align yourself with the person that you want to be and the people that you want to be around you. And I think that that was a big takeaway for me because I just think that there's enough reasons and people to be bitter in the world. And I just hope that if you're listening to my podcast, because obviously I can't save the world, I'm very aware of that. But if you do choose to tune in, I hope that you can take away something from this to really try and learn how to accept what is and be able to rise above the things that are out of your control. Surrender to what's out of your control, but also maximize the gifts of what is also, because two things can exist at the same time. The history of black people in America can be horrible, but at the same time there are so many beautiful contributions that the history of black people in this country have added to what we experience to this day. We wouldn't even have light bulbs if it wasn't for a black man. Like, come on. Stop signs, stop lights, excuse me. Literally, so much, so many things. Like the list can go on and on and on of contributions, even the personal computer. Okay, blood banks. I mean, there's so many things that we have added and contributed to the world. A pacemaker. Okay, let's talk about it. The pacemaker, a black inventor helped make that. So there's so many beautiful things. All that to say, not to go on a tangent, but there's so many beautiful things that we have added to this world and that we have contributed to the world. So it's not all negative. So if you just choose to exist in the negative, then you are doing exactly what oppression wants you to do. And with that, I kind of want to just close it out and encourage you to just always do some introspection because, like I say, feelings are feelings, and I as an empath, it's hard for me to tell people, "Oh, don't feel how you feel." But at least have some boundaries with yourself and accountability with yourself to recognize that just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that you have to allow your emotions to make you reactive and then become a conduit or just a vessel, an instrument for evil to be perpetuated into this world because there's enough of that going around. So, with that, I want to thank you for listening. And I appreciate your support. I really do. Please follow me on social media, follow me on Spotify, follow me on whatever streaming platform you listen to me on. I really do love your support and your feedback. Get in the DMs, get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm tripping. Let me know if you think I'm being too judgmental. Let me know. Let me know if you agree with the guy. Let me know if you're like, yeah, I agree. It was a bit harsh, but I still understand where he's coming from. I want to make conversation about this. I don't want this conversation to stop here. So definitely tap in. And as always, stay safe, stay present, stay you. Talk to you next time.
I just want to express my gratitude for you taking time out of your day to share this space with me. I hope this episode was meaningful and you leave feeling enriched. I appreciate you for being a part of this community of listeners. I hope you gain some fulfillment out of your day. Please do not forget to go follow us here and on all social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram at the platform LTAI podcast and Twitter at the platform LTAI. Also, share any episodes that you enjoyed with loved ones. I appreciate any help getting this community to grow. Sending positivity your way, this is your host, Jasmine, signing off. Stay safe, stay well, and farewell.